Hi, this is Lisa with Real Property Management Phoenix Valley. Thank you for joining me today when we're going to talk about our 5 best practices for rent collection for your Phoenix rental home. And as a designated broker here in our office, I own my own rental homes, and these are practices that I follow as well with my tenants and my lease agreements. So, first thing, make sure that the lease is written very clearly, very specifically. The due date is very clear. Make sure that not only the due date is clear, but if they have a grace period, how long is the grace period? And then once the grace period is up, how much are the late fees? When will the tenant be served with a demand notice, which is our second step, is to make sure it's clearly listed in the lease regarding the late fees, the rent demand notice. And with the late fees, we really recommend doing a per day late fee as opposed to just a one-time late fee. Because, for example, your rent's due on the 1st, let's say, you give a grace period till the 3rd. On the 4th, the tenant gets a one-time $40 late fee. Unfortunately, the tenant then doesn't have any incentive to pay the rent on the 5th versus the 30th because they're going to have the same late fee either way. So that's why the idea of having a per day late fee is best, because it does give the tenant some initiative. They can stop the late fees, and it helps to kind of give them the kind of light a fire for them to try to get that rent paid because they want the late fees to end. The third thing is to make sure you follow the terms of the lease agreement. We get calls all the time, people who've been managing the unit on their own, and they'll say to me, Lisa, I just feel bad. I feel bad for the tenant. They say they don't have the money, so I let them not pay for 60 days. I didn't enforce the late fees. And the problem is the minute you stop following the terms of the lease, it lets the tenant know that nothing in the lease has to be followed. So now all of a sudden you could end up with unauthorized people there, unauthorized pets there, things that can really increase the propensity for damages to your property. So it's very important, even if you don't necessarily feel nice about following the terms of the lease, that you do follow the terms of the lease. This is another one where we have, people inquire about our services and they'll say, well, I feel bad evicting the tenant. I feel bad, putting him on the street. Well, we do recommend taking quick action when it comes to an eviction. And that's because as the homeowner and as the small business you're running, because really owning an investment property is a small business, you have to make the best business decisions. So while the tenants are staying there longer, you're not getting rent, so you're covering all of the expenses out of pocket. Also, there's a propensity for damages to increase. Unauthorized people, pets may start living there. And you could end up, because here within Arizona, the Phoenix utility bill falls back on the homeowner. So if they're not paying the rent, there's a good chance they're not paying their utilities. So as a homeowner, you could also end up with a huge balance with the water municipality. So that's why we do recommend, you have to kind of take the emotion out of it and take quick action if an eviction is needed. And then the fifth step is sometimes hiring a property manager is the best way to go for the business. It's just like if you needed legal advice, you'd contact an attorney. Help with your taxes, you'd hire an accountant. Oftentimes, when you have a small business, you really have to take the emotion out of it. And that's where a property manager, a professional can come in, take that emotion out of it for you. Treat this like a business. Know that the return of investment needs to be there for you. Take swift action with the tenant so that funds start coming back to you in terms of rent, mitigating damages, all the things that you need as a small business owner. Thanks for listening.